This is the Tao Te Ching. The Tao Te Ching, written by Lao Tzu, a translation for the public domain. Thank you, public domain. Chapter 1, the Tao that can be scribed is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be spoken is not the eternal name. The nameless is the boundary of heaven and earth. The named is the mother of creation. Freed from desire, you can see the hidden mystery. By having desire, you can only see what is visibly real. Yet the mystery and reality emerge from the same source. This source is called darkness. Dark, born from darkness, the beginning of all understanding. Yeah, chapter 2, when people sing things as beautiful, ugliness is created. When people see things as good, evil is created. Being non-dominant and produce each other. Difficult is easy, complement each other. Long and short and define each other. High and low oppose each other. Fall and act follow each other. So therefore the master can act without doing anything and teach without saying a word. Things come her way, she does not stop them. Things leave, she them lets them go. She was without possessing and acts without any expectations. When her work is done, she takes no credit. That is why it will last forever. So we sing chapter 3 together. If you overly esteem talented individuals, people will become overly competitive. If you overvalue possessions, people will begin to steal. Do not display your treasures, or people will become envious. The master leads by emptying people's minds, filling their bellies, looking there and they're ambitious and making them become strong, preferring simplicity and freedom from desires, avoiding pitfalls of knowledge and wrong action. For those who practice not doing, everything will fall into place. Chapter 4. So I'm on the floor. The Tao is like an empty container. It can never be emptied, it can never be filled infinitely deep. It is the source of all things. It dulls the sharp, unties the knotted shapes and lighted and unties of creation. With dust it is hidden, but always present. I don't know who gave birth to it. It is older than the concept of God. Hey, so we sing chapter 5. Heaven and earth are impartial. They treat all creation as straw dogs. The master doesn't take sides. She treats everyone like a straw dog. The space between heaven and earth is like a bellows. It is empty, yet it has lost its power. The more it is used, the more it produces. The more you talk of it, the less you comprehend. It is better not to speak you things you don't understand. Chapter 6. The spirit of emptiness is immortal. It is called the Great Mother because it gives birth to heaven and earth. It is like a vapor, barely seen but always present. Use it effortlessly. Chapter 7. The Tao of heaven is eternal and the earth is long enduring. Why are they long enduring? They don't not live for themselves, thus they are present for all beings. The master puts herself last and finds herself in the place of authority. She detaches herself from all things, therefore she is untied with all things. Yet she gives herself no thought of to herself. She is perfectly fulfilled. So we sing chapter 8. Yeah, the supreme is good. It's like water which benefits all of creation without trying to compete to it. It gathers its unpopular places, thus it's like the Tao. The location makes the dwelling of the good. Depth of understanding makes the mind good. Kind heart makes the given good. Integrity makes the government good. Accomplishments make your labor good. Proper timing makes a decision good only when there is no competition. We will live in peace, so we'll sing chapter 9. It is easy to carry an empty cup, then one to fill one to the brim. The sharper the knife, the easier it is to dull. The more wealth you possess, the harder it is to protect. Pride brings its own trouble. When you have your accomplish your goal, simply walk away. This is the pathway to heaven. So we sing chapter 10. Yeah, we sing chapter 10. Yeah, nature, the darkness of your soul until you become whole. Can you do this and not fail? Can you focus life breath until you become supple as a newborn child? While you cleanse your inner vision, will you be found without fault? Can you love people and lead them without forcing your will on them? With heaven gives and takes away, can you be content with the outcome? When you understand all things, can you step back from your understanding? Give birth to nourishing, make without possessing, expecting nothing in return. To grow, yet not to control. This is Master's virtue. So hey, we sing chapter 11. 30 spokes are joined together in a wheel, but it is the center of the whole that allows the wheel to function. We mold clay into a pot, but it's the emptiness inside that makes the vessel useful. We fashion wood for a house, but it is emptiness inside that makes it livable. We work with the substantial, but the emptiness is what we use. So we'll sing chapter 12. 5 colors blind the eye, 5 notes deafen the ear. 5 colors make the palate go stale. Too much of activity ranges the mind. Too much wealth causes crime. The monster acts on what she feels. Is she right? And what she sees, she shuns the latter and prefers to seek the former. Chapter 13. Success is dangerous as failure, and we are often our own worst enemy. What does that mean? That success is as dangerous as failure. He who is superior is also someone subordinate, receiving favor and losing it both cause alarm. That is what is meant by success. It is dangerous as failure. What does it mean? That we are often our worst enemy. The reason I have an enemy is because I have self. If I no longer had a self, I would no longer have an enemy. Love the whole world as it was yourself, then you would truly care for all things. So we sing chapter 14. Look for it and it can't be seen. Listen for it and it can't be heard. Grasp for it and it can't be caught. These 3 things cannot be further described, so we treat them as one. And its highest is not bright, its depths are not dark, unending, unnameable. It returns to nothingness, formless forms, and imagine less is images subtle beyond all understanding. Hey, so we approach it and you will not see a beginning. Follow it and there will be no end. When we grasp the Tao, all the ancient ones, we can use it to redirect our life today to know the ancient origin of the Tao. This is the beginning of wisdom. Hey, so we continue to chapter 16. Yeah, the sages of old were profound and knew the ways of subtlety and discernment. Their wisdom is beyond our comprehension, because their knowledge was so far superior. I can only give a poor description. They were careful as someone crossing a frozen stream in winter, alert as if surrounded on all sides by an enemy, courageous as a guest, fluid as melting ice, whole as an uncarved block of wood, receptive as a valley, turbid as muddled water. Who can be still until their mud settles and the water is clear by itself? Can you remain tranquil until right action occurs by itself? The master doesn't seek fulfillment for those who are full, are able to be used, which bring the feeling of completeness. Chapter 16. If you empty your mind or your thoughts, who your heart will embrace the tranquility of peace. Watch the work of creation, but contemplate the return to the source. At all creations in the universe, so return what they began. Returning to the source is tranquility, because we submit to the heaven's mandate. Returning to heaven's mandate is calling. Being constant, knowing the constant is called enlightenment. Not knowing the constant is the source of evil deeds, because we have no roots. But knowing the constant, we can accept things as they are. But accepting things as they are, we become impartial. But by being impartial, we become the one with heaven. By being the one with heaven, we become the Tao. Being with the Tao, we are no longer concerned about losing our life, because we know the Tao is constant, and we know we're one with Tao. So in Sing chapter 17, the best leaders are the ones other peoples know exist. The next is a leader who is loved and praised. The next is the one who is feared. The worst one is the leader that, despised. If you don't trust the people, they will become untrustworthy. The best leaders value the words and use them sparingly. When she accomplished her task, the people say amazing. Yeah, we did it all by ourselves. Yeah, chapter 18, that's just how it goes. When the great Tao is abandoned, clarity and righteousness appear. When intellectualism arises, hypocrisy is close behind. When the strife is family unit, so people can talk about brotherly love. When the country falls into chaos, politicians talk about patriotism. Chapter 19, forget about all the knowledge and wisdom, and people will 100 times better off. Throw away the charity and righteousness. People will return to brotherly love. Throw away profit and greed, and there won't be any thieves. There three are superficial and aren't enough to keep us on the center of the circle. So we must also embrace simplicity, but others first desire little. Chapter 20, renounce knowledge and know your problems will end. What is the difference between yes and no? What is the difference between good and evil? Must you fear what others fear? Nonsense, look how far you have missed the mark. Other peoples are joyous as though they were at a spring festival. I alone am unconcerning, specialist like an infant before and learn to smile. Other people have more than they need, I alone possess nothing. I lost and drift about with no place to go. I am like a fool, my mind is in chaos. Ordinary people are bright, I alone am dark. Ordinary people are clever, I alone am in dull. Ordinary people seem discriminating, I alone am muddled and confused. I drift away on the waves of the ocean, blown at the mercy of the wind. All people that have their goals, I alone am dull and uncouth. I different from ordinary people, I nurse from the great mother's breast. Chapter 21, the greatest virtue you can have from following the tale which takes from. Hey, let's switch this up. The greatest virtue you can have comes following only the tale which takes from form. An intangible and invasive, even the truth of the Tao is intangible and evasive. We are able to know it exists, and temporal is evasive, yet it has a manifestation secluded and dark. Yet there is a vitality within it. Its vitality is genuine. With it we can find order since the beginning of time. The Tao has always existed. It is always the beginning of existence, not existing. How do I know where creation comes from? I look inside and see it. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, I see it. Chapter 22, if you want to become whole, first let yourself become broken. If you want to become straight, first let yourself become twisted. If you want to become full, first you left it. First let yourself become empty. If you want to become brand new, first let yourself become old. Those who desire forgets them. Those who desires are great go astray. For this reason the master embraces the Tao as an example for the words to follow, because she isn't self-centered. People people can see the light in her, because she does not boast of herself. She becomes a shining example because she does not glorify herself. She becomes a person of merit because she wants nothing from the world. The world cannot overcome her. When the ancient master said, if you want to become whole, then first let yourself become broken. They weren't using empty words. All who do this have will be made to complete. Chapter 23, nature uses few words. When the gale blows, it may not last long. When it rains hard, it lasts but a little while. But what causes these heavens to happen? Heaven and earth, why do humans go on endlessly on that leg? Till when nature does much in little time. If you open yourself to the tale, you and the tale become one. If you open yourself to virtue, then you can become virtuous. If you open yourself to lost, hey, then you will become lost. If you open yourself to the tale will eagerly welcome you. If you open yourself to virtue, virtue will become a part of you. If you open yourself to loss, the lost are glad to see you. When you don't know, trust yourself. When you do not trust people, people will become unworthy, so we scream. Yeah, chapter 24, those who stand on tiptoes do not stand firmly. Those who rush ahead don't get very far. Those who try to outshine others dim their own light. Those who call themselves righteous can't know how wrong they are. Those who boast how their accomplishments diminishes the feelings that they have done compared to the Tao. These actions are unworthy. If we follow the Tao, we must not do these things. Chapter 25, I will sing before the universe was born. There was something in the chaos of the heavens. It stands alone and empty, solitary. In the unchanging, it is ever present and secure. It may be regarded as mother of the universe, because I do not know its name. I call it the Tao. It forced to give it a name. I won't call it great, because it great means it is everywhere. But being everywhere means it is eternal. Being eternal means everything returns to it. Tao is great, heaven is great, earth is great. Hey, yeah. So humanity is great, so then we're gonna go with so heaven is great. Humanity is great. Within the universe there are four great things. Humanity follows the earth follows heaven, the heaven follows the Tao follows only itself. So we sing chapter 26. Heavenness is the base of lightness, stillness and standard of activity. Thus the master travels all day without even leaving her wagon. Even though she has much to see, is she at peace in her indifference? Why should the Lord of thousands chariots be amused at the foolishness of the world? If you're bending yourself to foolishness, you lose touch with your beings. If you let yourself become distracted, you will lose the basis of your power. Chapter 27, a good traveler leaves no tracks, and a skillful speaker is well rehearsed. A good beaker, good bookkeeper, has an excellent memory, and a well-made door is easy to open, and she needs no locks. A good knot needs no rope, and it can't come undone. Thus the master is willing to help everyone, and doesn't know the meaning of rejection. She is there to help all of creation, and doesn't abandon even the smallest creature. This is called embracing the light. What is a good person but a bad person's teacher? What is a bad person but raw material for his teacher? If you fail to honor your teacher or fail to enjoy your student, you will come deluded. No matter how smart you are, it is the secret of prime importance. Hey, chapter 28, know the masculine, but keep to the feminine, and become the watershed to the world. If you embrace the world, the Tao will never leave you, and you become as a little child. Know the white, yet key to the black. Be a model of the world, be a model for the world. If you are a model for the world, the Tao inside you will strengthen. You return whole the honorable, but do not shun the disgrace, embracing the world as it is. If you embrace the world with compassion, then your virtue will return. Like to the uncut block, the block of wood and its uncut utensils. By carving board into wood, the master uses the utensils, yet prefers to keep to the block because of its limitless possibilities. Great work does not involve discarding substance. Chapter 29. Do you want to rule the world and control it? I don't think it can. I don't think it can ever be done. The world is a sacred vessel and it cannot be controlled. You will only make it worse if you try. It may slip through your fingers and disappear. Some are meant to lead and others are meant to follow. Some must always strain and others have an easy time. Some naturally big and strong and others will be small. Some will be protected and nurtured and others will meet with destruction. The master accepts things as they are. If compassion avoids extravagance, success and the extremes. Those who lead by example, people are following the tale. Don't use weapons and force their will. Using force will lead unseen troubles. In the places where armies march, thorns and briars bloom and grow. After enemies take to war, bad news must always follow. The skillful commander strikes a decisive blow, then stops. When victory is won over the enemy through war, it is not a thing of great pride. When the battle is over, arrogance is the new enemy. War can result with no alternative is given. So the one who overcomes an enemy should not dominate them. The stronger one always weakened with time. This is not the way of the Tao. That which is not the way of the Tao will soon end. Are the bearers of bad news. All people should detest him. The wise man values the left side, and in time of wars values the right. Weapons are meant for destruction and thus are avoided by the wise. Only as the last resort will a wise person use a deadly weapon if peace is her true objective. How can she rejoice in the victory of war? Those who rejoice in victory delight in the slaughter of humanity. Those who resort to violence will never bring peace to the world. The left side is a place of honor and happy occasions. The right side is reserved for mourning at a funeral where the lieutenants take the left side to prepare for a war. The general should be on the right side because he knows the outcome will be death. The death of man, he should be greeted with great sorrow, and the victory celebration should honor those who have died. Chapter 32, the Tao is nameless and unchanging, although it appears insignificant. Nothing in the world can contain it. If a world abides by its principles, then the people will willingly follow. Willingly will willingly follow. Heaven would then rain on earth like sweet rain, filling on paradise. People would have no need for laws because the world would be written on their hearts. Naming is a necessity for order, but naming cannot order all things. Naming often makes things impersonal, so we should know when naming should end. Knowing when stopping naming, you can avoid pitfalls it brings. All things end in Tao, just as small streams, the largest rivers, flow through valleys until the sea. This is your shit guitar. Sorry, we're just experiencing technical difficulties. There we go. There is our vibe back, and we come to chapter 33. Those who know others are intelligent. Those who know themselves are truly wise. Those who master others are strong. Those who master themselves have true power. Those who know they have are truly wealthy. Those who persist will reach their goal. Those who keep their course have strong will. Those who embrace death will not perish, but have life everlasting. Chapter 34, the great Tao well flows unobstructed in every direction. All things rely on it to conceive and be born, and it does deny even the smallest of creation. When it has accomplished great wonders, it does not claim for itself. It nourishes your infinite worlds. Yeah, it doesn't seek to master the smallest creature, since it is without wants and desires. It can be considered humble. All of creation seeks for its refuge, yet it does not seek to master, to control, because it does not seek greatness. So, chapter 35. Yeah, let's change it up. She who follows the way of the tail will draw the way of the world in the steps. She can go without fear of being injured, because she has found peace and tranquility in her heart. Where there is music and good food, people will stop to enjoy it, but words spoken of the tale seem to them boring and stale. When looked at, there is nothing for them to see. When listened for, there is nothing for them to hear. Yet if they put it to great use, it wouldn't ever be exhausted. Chapter 36. If you want something to return to the source, you must allow it to spread out. If you want something to weaken, you must first allow it to become strong. If you want something to be removed, you must first allow it to flourish. If you want to possess something, you must give it away. This is called subtle understanding of how things are meant to be. The soft and pliable becomes the hard and flexible. Just as fish remain hidden in deep waters, it is best to keep weapons out of sight. Chapter 37. The tail never acts without force, yet there is nothing that it can do. If rulers could follow the way of the tail, then all the creation would willingly follow the example. If selfish desires were able to arise after their transformation, oh yeah, I would erase them with the power of an uncarved block. By the power of the uncarved block, future generations would lose their selfish desires. By losing their selfish desires, the world would naturally settle into peace. Chapter 38. The highest good is not to seek to do good, but to allow yourself to become it. The ordinary person seeks to do good things, but finds they cannot do them continually. The master does not force virtue under other, thus she is able to accomplish her task. The ordinary person who uses force will find they can accomplish nothing. The kind person acts from the heart and can accomplish a multitude of things. Yeah, the righteous person can act out of pity, yet leaves many things undone. The moral person will act out of duty, and when no one will respond, will roll up his sleeve and use his force. When the tale is forgotten, there is righteousness. When righteousness is forgotten, there is morality. When morality is forgotten, there is the law. The law is the husk of faith and trust in the beginning of chaos. And our basic understandings and not from the tale, because they come from the depths of our misunderstanding. The master abides in the fruit and not in the husk. She dwells in the tale and not with the things that hide it. This is how she increases her wisdom. Chapter 39. Let's sit and listen. Yeah, the master of old attained a unity with the Tao. Heaven attained unity and become pure. The earth attained unity and found peace. The spirits attained unity so they could minister. The valleys attained unity, they could be mindful, be full. Humanity attained unity that they might flourish. The leaders attained unity and they might set an example. This is the power of unity. Without a unity, the sky becomes filthy. Without unity, unity, the earth comes unstable. Without unity, the spirits become unresponsive and disappear. Without unity, the valleys become dry as a desert. Without unity, humankind can't reproduce and becomes extinct. Without unity, our leaders become corrupt and fall. The great view and the small as their source, and the high takes the low as their foundation. The greatest asset becomes humility. They speak of themselves as orphans and widows, thus they truly seek humility. To not shine like a precious gem, but be as dull as a common stone. Chapter 40. All movement returns to the tail. Weakness is how the tail works. All of creation is born from substance. Substance is born from nothingness. So we sing chapter 41. When a superior person hears of the tale, she diligently puts it into praxis. When an average person hears of the tale, he believes half of it and doubts the other half. When a foolish person hears of the tales, he laughs out loud at the very idea. And if he didn't laugh, then hey, then it wouldn't be tales. It wouldn't be tales. And thus it's sad. Yeah, the brightness of the tale seems like darkness. Yeah, the advancements of the tale seem like retreat, and level path seems rough. The superior path seems empty, and pure seems to be tarnished, and true virtue doesn't seem to be enough. The virtue of caution seems like cowardice. The pure seems to be polluted. The true square seems to have no corners. The best vessels take the most time to finish. The greatest swords cannot be heard, and the greatest image has no form. Tale hides in the unnamed, yet alone it nourishes and completes all things. Chapter 42. Yeah, the tale gave birth to one, the one gave birth to two. Yeah, the truth gave birth to three. Three gave birth to all of creation. All things carry yin, yet embrace yang. They blend their life and breath in order to produce harmony. People despise being orphaned, widowed, and poor by the noble ones. Seeing their titles and losing much is gain, and in gaining much is lost. What others teach, I too will teach. Yeah, the strong and the violent will not die a natural death. Chapter 43. That which offers no resistance overcomes the hardest substance. That which is up, there's no resistance, can't enter wise where there's no space. Yeah, few in the world can comprehend the teaching without words, or understand the value of not action. Chapter 44. Which is more important, your honor or your life? Which is the more valuable, your possessions or your persons? Which is more destructive, success or failure? Because of this, great love extracts at a great cost, and true wealth requires a great loss. Knowing when you have enough avoids dishonor. Knowing when to stop will keep you from danger and bring you along. Happy life. Chapter 44, 45. The greatest accomplishments seem imperfect, yet their usefulness is not diminished. The gratefulness seems empty, yet it will inexhaustible. Yeah, the greatest straightness seems crooked. The most valued skill seems like clumsiness. The greatest speech seems fullest time as movement overcomes the cold, and stillness overcomes the heat. That which is pure still in the universal idea. Chapter 46. When the world follows the town, horses run free to fertilize the fields. When the world does not follow the tale, war horses are bred outside the cities. There is no greater transgression than the condoning people's selfish desires. Not a great disaster, greater disaster than being discontent. Hey, so heaven sent. Greater retribution than for the greed. Who knows the continent men will be at peace forever. Chapter 47. Without opening your door, you can never know the world. Without looking out your window, you can understand the ways of the tale. Without looking, yeah, out your window. Hey, 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 got an itchy crack, so let's keep going. Yeah, chapter 47. Yeah, without opening the door, you can know the whole world. Without looking out your window, you can understand the way of the tale. You, the knowledge you seek, the less you will understand. The master understands without leaving, sees clearly without looking, accomplishes much without doing anything. Chapter 48, one who seeks knowledge learns something new every day. One who seeks the Tao unlearns something new every day. Less and less remains until you arrive at non-action. When you arrive at non-action, nothing will left be undone. Mastery of the world is achieved by letting things and let a natural course. You cannot master the world but changing the natural state. Chapter 49, the master has no mind of her own. She is understand the mind of the people. To those who are good, she treats us good. To those who aren't good, she also treats us good. This is how she trains true goodness. She trusts people are trustworthy. She also trusts people who aren't trustworthy. This is how she trains to trust. The master's mind is shut off from the world only for the sake of people. Does she muddle her mind? They look to her anticipation, yet she treats them as all her children. Chapter 50, those who leave the womb at birth and those who enter at the source of death. Of these, 3 out of 10 celebrate life, 3 out of 10 celebrate death, and 3 out of 10 simply go life from death. What is the reason for this? Because they are afraid of dying, therefore they cannot live. I have heard those who have celebrated life walk safely among the wild animals. When they go into battle, they remain unharmed. The animals find no place to attack them, and the weapons are unable to harm them. Why? Because they can find no place for death in them. Chapter 51, the Tao gives the birth of all creation. The virtue of Tao in nature nurtures them, and their family gives them form. Their environment and shapes into a completion. This is why a creature honors the Tao and its virtue. No one tells the honor to the Tao and its virtue. It happens all by itself. So the Tao gives them birth and virtue, cultivates them, cares for them, nurtures them, gives them a place to refuge, peace, and helps them grow, so shelters them. And we keep going, we keep going. Yeah, gives them life without wanting to possess them, and cares for them, expects nothing in return. It is their master, but it does seek not to dominate them. This is the called dark and mysterious virtue. Chapter 52, the word at the beginning, which we call the great mother. Hey, once we call of the found mother, we begin to know what her children should be. What we know when we are the mother's child. She begins to guard the qualities of the mother in us. She will protect us from all danger, and even if we lose our life, keep your mouth closed and embrace a simpler life, and you will live carefree until the end of your days. And you talking away into better life, then will be into your trouble. To understand the small is called clarity. Knowing how to yield is called strength. Knowing how to use it in a light of understanding, regardless of the danger, is called depending on the constants. Chapter 23, if I only start one thing, I want to want what to use the follow of the Tao. My only fear would be of pride. The Tao goes in the level of places, but people prefer to take the shortcuts. It took too much is spent cleaning the house. The land will become neglected, full of weeds, and the granaries will soon become empty, because there is no one working the fields to wear fancy clothes or ornaments to have your fill, food and drink, and waste your own money on buying possessions. It's called the crime of excess, and how these things go against the way of the child. Chapter 54, the which is built will never be torn down. That which is well latched cannot slip away. Those who do things well will honor it from the generation to generation. If this idea is cultivated in the individual, then its virtue will be genuine. If this idea is cultivated in your family, the virtue in your family will be great. If this idea is cultivated in your community, the community will go a long way. If the idea is cultivated in your country, then virtue will be in many places. If this idea is cultivated in the world, then virtue will be with everyone. Then observe the person for what person does, and observe the family for what it does, and observe the community for what it does, observe the country for what it does, observe the world for what it does. How do I know what I'm saying is true? I observe things, and I see. Chapter 55, hey, one filled with the Tao is like a newborn child. It's like a newborn child. Yeah, the infant is protected from the stinging insects, wild beasts and birds of prey. Its bones are soft and muscles are weak, but its grips and burns are strong. Doesn't know about union, pair of male and female, yet his penis can stand erect because of the power and life within him. It can cry all day and never come hoarse. This is perfect harmony. To understand harmony is to understand the constant. To unnaturally to try to extend life is not appropriate. To try and alter life breath is unnatural. The master understands that when something reaches its prime, it will soon to begin to decline. Changing the natural is against the way of the Tao. Those who do it and come in little will come to an early end. Chapter 56. Those who do know do not talk. Those who know do not talk, and those who talk do not know. Stop talking, meditate in silence. Blunt your sharpness, release your worries. Harmonize your inner light and become one with the dust. Doing this is called dark mysterious identity. Those who achieve the mysterious identity cannot be approached and then cannot be alienated. They cannot be benefit no harm. They cannot be made noble nor suffer disgrace. This makes them the most noble of all under the heavens. Chapter 57. Govern your country with integrity. Weapons of war can be used with great cunning, but loyalty is only won by not doing. How do I know that things are by these? The more prohibitions you make, the more people will be. The more the weapons you possess, the great the chaos in your country. The more knowledge that is acquired, the stranger the world will become. The more laws you make, the greater number of criminals. Therefore, the master says I do nothing and people become good by themselves. I seek peace and people take care of themselves, and I do not meddle in their personal lives. And people become prosperous. I let go of all my desires, and people return like to the uncoved block. People return to the uncoved block. People return to the uncoved block. Yeah, if a government is obstructive, if the people become whole, if a government is repressive, the people become treacherous. Good fortune has its roots in disaster, and disaster lurks with good fortune. Who knows why these things happen or when the cycle will end? Good things seem to change into the bad, and bad things turn out for the good. Things have always been hard to comprehend, thus the master makes things change without interfering. She is the probing, yet causes no harm. Straightforward, yet does not impose her will. Radiant and easy on the eye. Chapter 59. There is nothing better than moderation for teaching people of serving heaven. Those who use moderation are already on the path of the tail. Those who follow the tail early will have abundance of virtue. When there is abundance of virtue, there is nothing that cannot be done. When there is limitless ability, then the kingdom is within your grasp. When you know the mother of the kingdom, then you will be long enduring. This is spoken as deep root of the firm trunk, the way of long life, the great of spiritual vision. Chapter 60. Governing a large country is like frying a small fish. Too much of poking spoils the meat. When the tail is used to govern the world, then evil will lose its power to harm the people. Not that evil will no longer exist, but only because it has lost its power. Just as evil can lose its ability to harm, the master shuns the use of violence. If you give evil nothing to oppose, then the virtue will return, yeah, by itself. Chapter 61. Large country should take the low place like a great watershed, which from its low position assumes the female role. Yeah, the female overcomes the male by the power of her position. Yeah, her tranquility gives rise to her humility. If a large country takes the low position, it will be able to influence smaller countries. If smaller countries take the lower position, then they can allow themselves to be influenced. So both seek to lower position in order to influence the other or be influenced. Large countries should desire to protect and help the people, and small countries should desire to serve others, both large and small. countries benefit greatly from humanity. Chapter 62, the tale is tabernacle of creation. It is the treasure for those who are good, and the piece of refuge for those who are not. How can you, those who are good, to be abandoned? The words that are beautiful are worth much, but good behavior can only be learned by example. When a new leader takes office, don't give him gifts and offerings, then things are not as valuable as teaching about the tale. What was the tale esteemed by the ancient masters? Is it not said, with if we find it without looking with, we find forgiveness for our transgressions? That is why we can't understand it. Chapter 63, act by not acting, do not by doing. Enjoy the plain and simple, find the greatness in the small, take care of difficult problems while they are still easy. Do easy before it comes hard. Yeah, difficult problems are solved best when they are easy. Great projects are best to start when they are small. The master never takes on more than she can handle, which means she is led, leaves nothing undone when affirmation is given too tightly. Lightly, keep your eyes open for trouble ahead when something seems too easy. Difficulty is hiding in the details. The master expects great difficulty, so the task is always easier than planned. Chapter 64, things are easier to control. While things are quiet, things are easier to plan far in advance. Things break easier while they are still brittle. Things are easier hit while they still are small. Prevent problems while they arise. Take action before they get out of hand. The tallest tree begins as a tiny sprout. The tallest building starts with one shovel dirt. Yeah, our journey 1,000 miles starts with a single footstep. If you rush into action, you will fall. If you hold on too tight, you will lose your grip. Therefore the master lets things take their course and thus never fails. She doesn't hold on to things and never loses them by pursuing your goals too relentlessly. You let them slip away. If you're concerned about the outcome as you are at the beginning, hey, then it's hard to do things wrong. The master seeks no possessions. She learns by learning. She learns by unlearning. Thus she understands all things. This gives her the ability for all for her creation. Chapter 65, the ancient masters who understood the way of the Tao did not educate the people but made them forget. Smart people are difficult to guide, but they think they are too clever to use cleverness to rule a country. Is to lead the country to ruin. Avoid cleverness is to ruining a country. Is to lead the country to prosperity. Knowing the two alternatives is the pattern remaining. Where of the pattern is of virtue, this dark mysterious virtue is profound. It is opposite of our natural inclination, but leads of harmony with the heavens. Chapter 66, river, sea, and rulers are the rulers of the streams and hundreds of valleys, because the power of the low position. If you want to be the ruler of the people, you must speak to them like you are their servant. If you want to lead the other people, you must put their interest ahead of your own. The people will not feel burdened. If a wise person is a position of power, the people will not feel like they are being manipulated. The whole world will ask for her guidance and will never get tired of her, because she does not like to compete. No one can compete with things that she accomplishes. Chapter 67, the world talks about honoring the tale, but you can't tell it from their actions, because there is their thought of the truth that makes light of it. Hey. Yeah, it seems too easy for anyone to see. There are jewels, things that are cherished: compassion, moderation, and humility. With compassion, you will be able to be brave. For moderation, you will be able to give to others. With humility, you will be able to become a great leader. To abandon compassion while seeking to be brave, or abandoning moderation while being benevolent, or abandoning humility while seeking to lead, will only lead to greater trouble. The compassionate warrior will be the winner, and if in compassion is your defense, you will be secure. Compassion is the protect. Hey, chapter 68. To the best warriors, do not use violence. The best generals do not destroy indiscriminately. The best tacticians try to avoid confrontation. The best leaders become servants of the people. This is called virtue of non-competition. This is called virtue manage of others. This called attaining harmony with the heavens. So we sing chapter 9. There is an old saying, it is better to become the passive in order to see what will happen. It is better to retreat afoot than it is to advance only an inch. This is called the inflexible, while advancing, pushing back without using force, and destroying the great enemy without engaging him. There is no greater disaster than underestimating your enemy. Hey, hey, yeah. I love this jam. Understanding your enemy means losing your greatest assets. When equal force meets in battle, victory will be the one that enters with greatest sorrow. So we head to chapter 7. In my words are easy to understand and easier to put into practice, yet no one in the world seems to understand them and are not able to apply what I teach. My teachings come from the ancients. The things I do for a reason, because you do not know me. You are not able to end my teachings, because those who know me are few. My teachers become even more precious. So we sing chapter 21. Hey, hey, knowing you don't know is wholeness, thinking you know is it a disease. Only by recognizing that you have an illness can you move to see a cure. Yeah, the master is whole because she sees illness and treats them, and thus is able to remain whole. Chapter 72. When people become overly bold, then disaster will soon arrive. Do not meditate with people's livelihood. By respecting them, they will return to respect you. Therefore, the master knows herself and is not arrogant. She loves herself but also loves others. This is how she is able to make appropriate choices. Yeah, chapter 23. Being overbold and confident is deadly. The wise use caution will keep you alive. One is the way to the death, and the other is the way to preserve your life. Who can understand the workings of a heaven? The tale is the universe does not compete yet wins. Do not speak yet responds. Does not command yet is obeyed, and does not act but as good at directing. The nets of heaven are wide, but nothing escapes its grasp. So we enter chapter 4. Hey, if you do not fear death, then how can it imitate you? Hey, yeah, if you aren't afraid of dying, there is nothing you can do. Those who harm others are like inexperienced boys trying to take place of a great lumberjack. Trying to fill the shoes will only get them seriously hurt. Chapter 75. When people go hungry, the government's taxes are too high. When people become rebellious, the government has become too intrusive. When people begin to view death highly, lightly, people wealthy people tend to have much, which causes others to starve. Only those who do not cling to their life can save it. So we hit 77, 76, sorry, the living are soft and yielding. Yeah, the dead are rigid and stiff, living plants are flexible and tender. The deaf and brittle are dry, those who are stiff and rigid and disciples. The deaf, those who are soft and yielding, the disciples of life. The rigid and stiff will be broken, the soft and yielding will overcome. Chapter 77. The tale of heaven works in the world like the drawing of a bow. The top is bent downward, the bottom is bent up. The excess is taken from, and the division is given to. The tail works, uses in excess, and gives to that which is depleted. Yeah, the way of the people is to take from the depleted and give to those who already have an excess. Who is able to give to the needy from the excess? Only someone who is following the way of the tail. This is why the master gives, expecting nothing in return. She does not dwell on a path to compliment, and who God's not Lord and in any praise. 78. Water is the softest in its most yielding substance, yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Hey, and we can still sing it. Everyone knows that the soft and yielded overcome so rigid and hard, but you can put this knowledge into practice. Therefore the master says, only he fellow servant of the kingdom. He is worthy to become its ruler. He who is willing to tackle the most unpleasant task is the best ruler in the world. True sayings seem contradictory. Chapter 7 and 9, difficulties remain even after solving a problem. How then can we consider them as good? Therefore the master knows what he knows is right, and makes no demands of others. A virtuous person will do the right thing, and virtuous person with no virtue will take advantage of others. The tale doesn't choose sides. The good person receives from the tale because she is on its side. So we scream chapter 8. Small countries with few people, yeah, they are the best. Give them all of the things that they want, and they will see they do not need them. Teach them that death is a serious thing, and to be content to never leave their homes, even if they have the plenty of horse and wagons and boats. They won't feel that they need to use them, even if they have the weapons and shields. They will keep them out of sight. Let people enjoy the simplest technologies. Let them enjoy their food. Let them make their own clothes. Let them be content in their own homes and delight. Yeah, and delight in the customs that they cherish. Although the next great country is close enough that they can hear the roosters crowing, dogs barking, then they are content. Yeah, they are content. Never leave, visit each other all their days of their life. Chapter 81. True words do not sound beautiful. Beautiful sounding words just aren't true. Yeah, wise men don't need to debate. Men who need to debate are not wise. Wise men are not scholars, and scholars are not wise. The monster desires no possessions, since things she does are for the people. She has more than she needs, and more gives to others. Yeah, the more she gives to others, the more she has for herself. Yeah, the Tower of Heaven nourishes by not bossing. The tale of the wise person acts but not competing. That was the book. Thank you. If you got it all the way.